Have you ever felt like being vulnerable is the last thing you want to do? But deep down, you know it's the only way to truly connect, grow, and thrive? Brené Brown's journey to daring greatly began with a single question. What makes some people resilient in the face of shame and disconnection, while others struggle? As a researcher, she thought she was chasing answers about connection, only to be blindsided by vulnerability. Brown describes herself as someone who avoided vulnerability at all costs. She wore different suits of armor to protect herself: perfectionism, people-pleasing, and cynicism. It wasn't until her research revealed that vulnerability is at the core of meaningful connection that she realized she'd been living in fear of the very thing she was studying. Her breakthrough came during a moment of profound discomfort. After a decade of research, Brown identified a group of people she called the wholehearted, individuals who believed they were worthy of love and belonging despite their imperfections. The key trait they all shared: a willingness to be vulnerable. For Brown, this realization sparked what she called a breakdown, or, as her therapist reframed it, a spiritual awakening. Brown's journey taught her that vulnerability is not a weakness, it's courage in action. When she stepped onto the TEDx Houston stage in 2010 to talk about her research, she chose to embrace her own vulnerability. Instead of staying safe behind statistics and theories, she shared her personal struggles with shame, fear, and worthiness. This act of courage resonated far beyond what she expected. The talk went viral, reaching millions and changing lives. For Brown, this was proof that showing up and being seen, even when it's uncomfortable, is the heart of daring greatly. Vulnerability means stepping into uncertainty and risk, whether it's sharing an idea, asking for help, or pursuing a dream. Without it, we miss opportunities for growth and connection. Through her research, Brown found that shame, the fear of being unworthy, is one of the biggest barriers to vulnerability. Shame thrives in silence, secrecy, and judgment. Yet the wholehearted people in her studies didn't let shame define them. Instead, they practiced shame resilience by recognizing it, naming it, and reaching out for empathy. Brown shares how understanding shame transformed her relationships and work. She learned that naming her shame took away its power, and that vulnerability allowed her to build stronger connections with others. When you feel shame, pause and ask, what story am I telling myself? Sharing that story with someone you trust can break shame's hold and foster deeper connection. For much of her life, Brown relied on what she calls the vulnerability armory to avoid discomfort. She sought perfection, numbed her emotions, and used cynicism as a shield. But through her research, she realized these defenses were keeping her disconnected and unfulfilled. When she began replacing perfectionism with authenticity and embraced her imperfections, her relationships deepened, and her work became more meaningful. Vulnerability wasn't just about being open, it was about letting go of control and embracing uncertainty. Let go of perfectionism by asking yourself, what is truly important here? Focus on progress, not perfection. Brown's research uncovered 10 guideposts for living a wholehearted life, such as cultivating gratitude, joy, and self-compassion. For her, this meant creating daily habits to counter scarcity and fear. One practice that transformed her perspective was gratitude. When she started listing 3 things she was grateful for every day, she noticed a shift. Instead of focusing on what was missing or imperfect, she began to see abundance and possibility in her life. Gratitude helps combat the never enough mentality by shifting your focus from scarcity to abundance. Brown applies her insights to parenting and leadership, where vulnerability is often seen as a weakness. As a parent, she learned that showing her children how to navigate failure and imperfection was more valuable than trying to appear flawless. In leadership, she saw how creating a space for feedback and openness could foster innovation and trust. She recalls a moment when her daughter struggled with a project for school. Instead of stepping in to fix the problem, Brown chose to share her own experiences of failure and how she learned from them. This act of vulnerability strengthened their bond and taught her daughter resilience, whether at home or at work. Model vulnerability by admitting mistakes and showing how you grow from them. What makes daring greatly transformative is its central message. Vulnerability is the bridge to a more courageous, connected, and fulfilling life. By embracing imperfection, letting go of shame, and showing up as your authentic self, you can transform not only your relationships, but also how you lead, parent, and navigate the world. Brené Brown dared greatly by stepping into the arena and sharing her story. Now it's your turn. What's one area of your life where you can replace fear with courage and show up as your authentic self? If you want to dive deeper into these life-changing insights, check out the link in the description to get the book. Let's embrace vulnerability and transform our lives together.